Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast and I'm your host Mike. We're in association with Lucky Star Gin, and with me today we have Carl returning. So thank you to him, and a thank you to everyone for returning, listening as well, and any new listeners. Hello. We love hearing from you. Join the conversations. Tag me on social media at Sutton Podcast. Let me know what you think of the podcast. Let me know what you think in general. I can't do much about most situations, but you can let me know anyway. If it gets you off your chest, that's great. And big shout out to obviously regular listeners who do that all the time. Carl, how are you since you've last been on? I know I spoke to you yesterday, but how are you since you last been on? And do you want to tell everyone why we're recording a bit late today? Because you had a prior appointment.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. Been good since the last podcast. Itching to get back on, actually, if I'm honest with you, Mark. Enjoyed it. Enjoyed the debut. Had some technical difficulties which I've solved, so there should be no technical difficulties or dropping out. And we're recording later because I wanted to see another team of mine get absolutely battered by their local rivals. So
How'd that go? Was it fun?
it wasn't good viewing, Mike. We should have done this at 4:30, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. We would have missed the whole thing. Just saw the match.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a different United, and they lost worse than us. I don't know if you remember or if you saw it. I did set you a little bit of a question for knowing me, knowing you. I'll just tell you now, because obviously you're looking around furiously. Who in your life influenced your support for Sutton United and the most, or why? So I'm just going to play the jingle, and you've got a few seconds to think about that. I mean, you could literally see you going.
Well, my uncle used to live on Gander Green Lane until he ventured over to New Zealand. So, and I used to stay with him at the weekends, and it was his local club. But more recently, I've mentioned to you a couple of times, I've come down with a mate of mine who had some business season tickets that it was through his business, and then just grew from there.
Excellent, lovely. And which player made you keep coming back?
Which player kept me coming back?
Yeah, which was the ones you were like, oh, I'm looking forward to see so and so. Don't say Eastie in the bar or something like that.
No. Do you know what? It was Omar Bugel, actually. I love seeing him throw his weight around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Him, Butts, because obviously being a centre midfielder myself in my youth, you know, he reminded me a bit of how I played. But it was Omar, really.
Yeah, he was one of those players that I think people didn't really respect what he did until he wasn't in the team doing it, and then everyone's like, "Oh, we missed that," and it's like, "Well, you moaned at him for not scoring goals." But now, now you see him.
And to be fair, actually, I missed him off. Actually, Kobe Rowe was another one. You know, he was third, fourth, fifth choice, but every time he came into the side, he done a shift, scored some important goals as well.
Yeah, I think I've got a little video somewhere where he scored 3 goals in a game in 3 separate games, all in different kits, and I'm like, I don't know if there's
because he scored the equaliser on the anniversary game. I think that was the third one, is it? I think.
Yeah, so 3 different kits, and he scored 3 goals in a row. Kobe Rowe. Haha. Anyway, club news.
He wore number 4.
He did. Ladies team won today, 3-2. They got a late winner. They were 2-0 up, and they got pegged back to 2-2. That sounds familiar. We did the pegging back, but hey, we didn't do the finish. But yeah, they won 3-2, so congrats to them. So let's go for it. Ahead of the game, what were you expecting, and what did you think when the sort of lineup came out? Was there any sort of omissions for you, or someone you were surprised to be in the side?
So going into the game, I felt that this should have been the start of 4 or 5 games that we should be winning. You know, after the tough 6. Boreham Wood should have been the start of it, really, but maybe with the weeks, no game in the week, 4 weeks of training and rest and rehabilitation, etc. I thought this should have been the start of Tamworth, Brackley, Boston, winnable games to get us back up into the top half of the table, get rid of the stay well clear of the relegation zone. And when the starting lineups came out, nothing. The only real disappointment is the lone player. Yeah, I don't know. Is it Boutin?
Noah Boutin. Yeah.
I thought he played. He's probably one of the better players for the games I've seen him in. So I was surprised that I know Vinny was suspended and he's come in for Liam Vincent and he's done well when he came in. But I felt that maybe Vinny could have gone in as the third centre half in replace of Pruti if he needed his rest. But yeah, he was probably one of the guys I felt should have been in the side. And then no, I know they got injuries, so the central midfielders at 3 were the only 3 they could have picked from, I suppose. But no, no one really.
Yeah, nothing dramatic.
No, not really.
I mean, obviously I don't know anything, but the Boutin thing maybe because players that we've got that we're going to play on Tuesday, some of them have to play the following week, so he may be holding him back to say, Rob, we're going to get him on Saturday.
Which is unfair, really, because I think, you know, the National League Cup is not really the forefront. It's almost like the League Cup for the Premier League sides, isn't it? It's not really the forefront. Although we want to compete, we did well last year to get to the final and stuff. The league is where we need to focus on at the start of the season, anyway. You know.
Yeah. So coming into the match, do you feel that although a lot of people have been, myself included, saying that, okay, it's a tough August. It's an awful August. We're playing some of the top teams. We knew when the fixtures came out, nothing really surprised us about that. But do we think that a little bit of confidence psychologically, they were struggling before the game? Or do you kind of think, well, they're brave enough and big boys enough to know that, okay, they're gone. This is the next match in front of us? Or do you think there's a bit of a hangover?
I do think they see the stats, they see the tables. You know, they're working all week. They're shown videos, tapes, or whatever throughout the weeks. You know, in their team meetings, I'm guessing, so they know where they're at. So I do think it is a confidence issue. I spoke to JT or Junior Eccleston after the game, and I mentioned that they don't need the game on Tuesday, really.
Mm-hmm.
And someone it was Junior Eccleston, because I think there was a bloke standing with him, and he basically said, "Oh yeah, if they get the win, it's confidence into the next league game," and it is confidence, but I think a lot of it plays on they're seeing it, you know, they're seeing the reaction from the fans, and it does carry on to the next game. You know, especially with the Boreham Woods. You know, from where they were to what it happened. You know,
the confidence knocking onto the next game for the National League Cup. The worry on that is Brighton have got a really good academy.
Yeah,
and if they're relying on that to boost their confidence, then it could be another Fulham situation. I'm not saying it will be, but it could be a more damage. But we started the match. We all know what went on in the match, but again, early penalty. Not quite as early as some of the ones we've had so far this season, but a very early penalty. I think that's the 5th of the season we've given away. How do you feel like the penalty, and then I can't remember how long after, but not that long after. I think it was within the first 20 minutes to both goals.
Yeah,
From the throw on. So how difficult as a player would you have said, Christ, hang on, we've come into this game on a bad run. We're now finding ourselves 2-0 down on a game that we should be winning. And mistakes, they're individual mistakes, so I'm not going to call out anyone and blame them, but it's an individual mistake that led to Jack having no choice on the penalty. Individual mistakes in the throw on, but how do you kind of get over these? I know everyone's like, oh, you just have to live in the moment, but that's really difficult.
I think the easy answer is time. Time will tell. I was talking to you yesterday, actually, saying that there was 4 worse teams in the league than Sutton United. Okay, as it stands now, there isn't, because we're in the bottom 4. But we've played the tougher fixtures at this present time. So time will tell. Time will pick up. I think sometimes in this game it's about rub of the green, and they're just not getting the rub of the green. The header is short. It's an easy decision for a penalty, but you forget that and move on. And I don't think the penalty or the early goal conceded contributes to the long throw-in not being defended well, because that's 101. You do your job. So, but then you look at yourself. You're 2-0 down with 20 minutes to go.
20 minutes gone.
20 minutes gone. There's plenty of time left in the game to get back in, and they did.
Yeah, I have to say, at one point, I can't remember, I was around near you, but I'm not sure if I said it to you. I was like, well, you know what? We can't come back if we don't go behind. So it's like, come on, positive.
Yeah.
And someone did very gently tell me to F off.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't you, absolutely. But then Simps stepped up and got us a goal. Stepped up again, got us another goal.
Yeah.
Come back to 2-2. So I was very confidently bouncing around and being really, really happy, feeling quite smug. I'm going to be honest. I was feeling, this is great. I should have recorded myself saying that. 40 seconds later.
maybe even less than that, mate.
Yeah. I mean, that is a collective brain fart. Is the ball goes out. The ball goes anywhere. You just have those 5 minutes to kind of settle down, not.
They did it last year, though, Mike, didn't they, against Forest Green? But they got the equaliser in the 88th minute or whatever, and then it was 2 minutes, maybe a little bit longer than. And obviously they're going for the winner at home, etc. But you sort of, if you're 2-0 down, you get to 2-2. You want your. Well, let's settle down now, boys. Let's play some football. And to be fair, from the moment it kicked off to that moment at 2-2, they were the better team. They were playing a better football. Like you said, the 2 goals that Tamworth scored were from a penalty and a long throw-in from mistakes or whatever. So Sutton were the better team. They just needed to calm down. 0-0.
Yeah, especially as, like you say, you've just come back. You're in the ascendancy. You've got the momentum. But there was a whole second half to go. Then you had a lot of time. You didn't have to go in at 3-2. You could have just gone, right, we'll go in at 2-2. We'll refresh. We'll find out what's going on and we'll sort it. I mean, you mentioned it's happened a few times last year. Happened a few times the year before as well. But this is a different side. It should be a different mentality. How are these things still sticking from previous sides and still going on?
So the easy answer for last year's one is they're just a young team. Maybe a bit of inexperience, a bit of adrenaline, especially if Lewis Simper gets both goals. He wants his hat trick, maybe. Not saying that's what he's thinking of, but the mistakes from the 2 seasons ago or the season, I don't know. It's a different system, so you can't be the same reasons. But the ones for the 2 or 3 occasions last year, it's just because of just youth. They're young. Their adrenaline courses through. You get a bit more energy in the legs, so you sprint that extra 5 yards quicker, and then you're past in an instant, really. But
it's the confidence. It's that. And I know Steve has said many times, Meany said many times, they want the players to play with freedom and not worry about making mistakes, because that's when their best football come.
Yeah.
But you cannot help it as a human being to be, things are not going well. I don't want to be the one that makes the mistake.
Yeah.
Because it just happens.
Yeah.
I mean, second half, before we talk about what Steve said, but second half, you thought we had a better team in that first half. Second half, we were absolutely all over them. I thought there was very few chances for them. We grazed the crossbar, I think at least once.
Hit the post, didn't we?
Yeah. So we had lots and lots and lots of chances, and it just couldn't go in.
Yeah.
Is that something that we're doing wrong, or is that the luck you were talking about earlier, which is you can't define it, you can't train it, you can't improve it? What can we do if it's luck?
I don't know. It's the rubber of the green, I suppose. It is luck. Then someone said to me a long time ago that you make your own luck in life sometimes, But there was a moment where I think, was it Harris or Sid, you had a swipe at the ball and it fell to Simple on his right foot. He had a swipe at the ball and then it just falls to their player. And I mentioned it in the bar afterwards to a few people, especially to Meany, when we was having a conversation. It's like, we try so hard to create these chances and it always seems to fall to their players. Or look at the Solihull one where I can't remember who headed it onto their own post when we whipped it out,
Yeah, Tyler.
That's it, yeah. So it falls to their player. They get the luck, but when it's in our box, it just seems to end up in the back of the net. Doesn't matter what the back five or Simo does, it just ends up in the back of the net. Yeah. So it's just that it's a numbers game, I suppose. The more you create, the more likely you're going to get that goal. But it just didn't end up where it needed to be yesterday.
And it's been like that for a little while. I mean, I've said for a while, even though I said it's got nothing to do with the same players and everything, but previous seasons, we seem to work so hard to create the chances, not take them. When we do take them, we go, right, we got a goal. And then they just kind of manage to just get a big toe on it and score out of nothing. And you're like, when are we going to get that? When is that going to happen to us? I'm pretty sure every club in the whole world would say the same thing. But I really do feel like we are not getting the luck. So we might need to see some exorcisms or some sacrifices to the gods. I don't know.
Maybe cut a corner flag out.
Yeah.
Sacrifice a corner flag.
Yeah, but is it I mean, I spoke to Woody in the hospitality head of things. He was great, by the way. I did mention the conversation where we were all getting a little bit hydrated after one of the other games. So I'm not sure if you remember this conversation. He sort of panicked a little bit. But are we missing leaders on the pitch again? So when he was in the middle of the pitch, doing the talking, shouting, we've got Aaron who does that. Harry does that. We've got leaders on the pitch, but is it again people are not wanting to give each other instructions or sound like they're moaning?
No. To be fair, I've think that Simo's come more out of a shell this year. He's shouting and talking to his back line a lot more. He spent half his time on the halfway line yesterday, shouting and hollering and directing traffic. So I don't think it's about leaders. I just think it's about knowing your role, I suppose, on the pitch, knowing what your responsibilities are, and just making sure that you do the simple things. I remember Steve shouting, I think we got a goal. It might have even been Boreham Wood or whatever. And he turned around and he shouted to the bench, "This game is easy." I think we must have scored or created some try. And he just turned to the bench and the game is easy.
Yeah.
And it is. It becomes harder when you try to overcomplicate things. So I don't think it's about leadership on the pitch. I think leadership needs to be within a dressing room. I think they've got that with the likes of Woody and Phipsy and Aaron and those more experienced National League players. So I'm not 100% sure that transitions to the pitch as such.
Yeah, I mean it is a daft one because every game, apart from the Forest Green one, where we were well beaten, but when you've got one player on more than our entire midfield, you've got to go, okay, well, there's going to be a difference there. But apart from that, every game has been one goal here or there. We're not far away. We're not like getting battered every week. We're losing, but we're not getting battered. And pretty much every game we're coming away from it going, we should have won that.
Yeah.
We should have won that.
Yeah, the York game at the we listened to it. We didn't actually watch it in the end. Some birthday party or something stupid like that. But we've watched every game on DAZN when it's been away. So the Rochdale game should have won it. Had better chances than them. They got lucky with their goal. Boreham Woods 2-1 up at half time. Played the best first half of football that seen this season, and then second half just come out as a different team. And then Solihull Moors battered their goal for 90 minutes, 0-0. And yeah, Forest Green was the only one that you sit back and go, do you know what? We were scored.
Yeah.
Left, right, and centre.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, the early penalty again doesn't help, but the other 3 goals were just.
Yeah, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, they kind of played how we want to play, straight in your face, get the ball, press early. But what's more frustrating is, I know people got carried away, including myself. Even though you're saying, "Oh, it's only pre-season," in your heart, you're like, "Whoa, we are looking good. We are looking great here." We had such a good pre-season, and it just hasn't carried on. I mean, the York game, we could have said, "Oh, we should have come away with that," but we do got a draw at one of the title favourites. So even into that game, you're like, "Okay, we're doing good," but it just hasn't followed into the season. Which I know a lot of people are going, "Yeah, see, told you it wouldn't." But what is it about that mentality that suddenly switches? I mean, I had a little message conversation with Nadders where he was feeling a little bit annoyed before the Altrincham match that he hadn't scored yet. And I was like, but you scored loads in pre-season. It's going to come. And he was like, that's pre-season. That's totally different. It doesn't even count. And I'm like, I'll decide what counts. Thank you. What is the difference between a pre-season and then not transferring that into the league?
I think I agree with Nadders to an extent, because if you look at the first 2 pre-season games, right, AFC Wimbledon and Wycombe Wanderers, there were 2 45-minute teams, so you can't really take the results. Maybe the Wimbledon one you can take as more of a, that's how we want to be playing into the season, than the Wycombe one. And then the other games were all against lower league opposition, so it was just about getting minutes in the legs or whatever, finding your rhythm, targets, that sort of stuff. So I agree with him on there, but again, it's like the confidence.
Yeah,
you have a good pre-season, you go into the opening game of the season with confidence, and it showed with the effort for the 2-2 York, and then that carries on to the battering against Solihull that we just couldn't win the following week, and then you're into the Forest Green game, and then as soon as you get turned over like that, that's your confidence gone, and you've got to rebuild it. It's harder to gain confidence than it is to lose it. So I think, because I was speaking to Brandon at the summer party launch, and I was talking to him about, he could have got a hat trick at Chertsey when he come on, the 2 headers that he had, etc., and he was like, just finding my rhythm, just getting minutes in the leg. I think it was his debut. I think he come on at the second half. It was his first game. Yeah. So he was just trying to find minutes in the legs and stuff. He was just trying to find his rhythm. So you can forgive that. But he's come up with a couple of cheeky goals. Yeah. And hopefully for Nadders, that will come. Look at Will Davies last year. I don't think he even got his first goal till mid-October, end of October, and then he's top goal scorer, wasn't he? So it will come.
I mean, there's part of me, obviously, is like, still new players gelling in. Nadders and Brandon need to kind of get their partnership sorted. Then the other side is kind of going, we're nearly a quarter way of the season. Other teams have started to gel and everything a bit quicker than we are. Is it the lack of goals, or is it the conceding the goals that is our biggest problem at the moment? Conceding. In your opinion, obviously.
Conceding, yeah. You don't concede, you get points.
Yeah.
So okay, goals wins you games, etc. is the saying, but if you don't concede, you're going to get a point. With 46 games, it's 46 points.
That's more of an Arsenal outlook there. With Graham, just don't concede. Not Man United under Ferguson score more than them.
Yeah, but I think not conceding is probably more of a concern, or the amount of goals we're conceding is more of a concern than the amount we're not scoring. Because you scored 2 against Bournemouth, you concede 4. You scored 2 against Tamworth yesterday, you concede 3. So I don't think scoring the goals is the issue.
Yeah. Oh, Steve was quite scathing, especially when you compare not necessarily what he said, but how he said things compared to previous interviews. So normally he's very much like, it's a collective responsibility, but then he was basically saying it's the fundamentals of football. We've worked on this all week, and they don't do it. What is going on? So, like the throw on, they knew what was going to come. They've been practicing it. They prepared for it. And
he battered us twice last season with that throw, didn't he? So
and still got caught out. I mean, he's taken a little bit of criticism for the expression "man up," but emotional in the moment talking. You're not going to be thinking about, how's that people going to take that? Do you agree that that's a slight change for him, where he's kind of almost reaching the end of his tether with them, or do you think that I'm reading way too much into it?
I wouldn't say way too much into it. I think you are reading a little bit too much into it. I think at the end of the day, Steve's only human, right? So I compare it to my 2 young little rugrats. You can tell them so many times to not jump on the sofa or stop running around, but they'll fall over, they'll bang their heads, because they'll keep on doing it. So, and it's frustrating because you're telling them that they're going to hurt themselves. So there may be a little bit of losing his patience with it. We're telling you guys week in, week out, game in, game out, what the fundamentals are. We're giving you all the information to go out there and be tooled up to do the job, etc. So maybe it's just a sort of final straw, or he can't take all the blame, so he's going to have to shed some of it. But I wouldn't say you're reading too much into it. It was definitely, I personally haven't seen the whole interview. I've seen clippets, throughout the day and stuff. But I would say it's definitely a different type of interview.
He's normally
that comes off the back of the one last week against Altrincham when someone just runs through the middle, So there is a bit of frustration. Maybe I haven't spoken to Steve.
Of course, I've not. I just asked, was he all right the other day or like yesterday? I got a look, so I was like, okay, we won't chat now, Steve. But yeah, I mean, I get where the noise is coming from. I get lots of people just straight away didn't like him, and any opportunity they're going to jump on. But it has been building in speed. One set of interesting comments were after the Altrincham match, where he was saying that we're all trying our hardest. The players are trying their hardest. The staff are trying their hardest. Everyone's trying their hardest. Is like, well, if our hardest isn't working, is it good enough? Are you of the opinion that something needs to change, or are you of the opinion, I think you said it earlier, as we just need time to pass by?
No, I personally don't think there needs to be any change. I think it will. It's coming. Just look at the Carlisle result. We were just as good as them. Our goals were just as deserved as theirs. So if they can play at that consistent level, then they'll be fine. I'm not a fan of that early trigger. So I know York City have done it. There was Solihull Moors have done it.
Yeah.
So it may work out for them. But then on the flip side, I felt that if Matt Gray had been released maybe a month earlier, Steve may have had the time to keep him up in League Two.
Like, people have been.
There's a point, I think. cost us in the end. So,
I think people have been talking about the sliding doors moments of like the penalty at Colchester, or at home to Colchester, and the penalty to Doncaster, where Dino wiped out their player. It's like those sliding doors. If those two things hadn't happened, then we would have still been in the EFL.
100%.
Things could be totally different.
100%.
I mean, is that? I mean, I'm not a fan of the trigger at all. I'm going to be honest. I'm like, no, you give the man a job, give him the chance to do the job, and yeah, I'm more of a case of it will be when they decide this isn't I can't. Maybe if we start really struggling, then you've got to look at it.
Yeah,
but,
if the football wasn't good and they're getting battered week in week out, then
absolutely.
100%. My answer will probably be something needs to change.
Yeah.
But it's one game.
I think his answer would be also if we were talking about 9 games and we've been battered in every single game. I think his answer would be very different as well.
Yeah,
so
of course.
But is it that you're a relatively new fan as well? But is it that people's expectations are too high? Because obviously a lot of people joined us when we were in EFL, and we've got a lot of new fans over the last couple of years. That's not a dismissing of new fans. I love the new fans, but because they've only known us at that level or this level, is their expectation a little bit too high? Because generally, we've always played at the level below.
Every football fan's expectation is always going to be higher. I think I'm a football fan, right? So I have my main team, and I would say I'm a supporter and a follower and a fan of Sutton United over the last 5 seasons. So I see it maybe with a different vision or a different perspective than the guys that have been going for 15, 20, 30 years, etc. But every fan has the right to have an expectation of being in the Football League. But then for me, my answer is it took the club 120 years to get into the Football League. It's not going to take 2 or 3 seasons. And I spoke to, I can't remember his name now. At the end of last season, was in the bar at the end of the game. Oh, this is bollocks, etc. And then you tried to put a spin in it. Oh, we're finishing the top half, etc. Which is fine. And I think he laughed it off. But I said to him that you've got to look at once you're relegated, you've got to have a 3-year project sustained because the team changed completely.
Yeah.
So maintain your National League status. This year we need to build in it, top half, maybe push for the playoffs, and then push for winning the league next year if you don't get promoted in the second. So that's just my vision of it. But a fan can come in and go, do you know what? We've won 7 out of 8 pre-seasons. We should be winning this league.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think people have got high expectations. I just think they need to, once they've got the reality that expectation ain't going to happen, don't just 180 and turn in the other direction.
Yeah, that's the little thing is I'm kind of like, hang on, I can't remember who it was, and I'm sorry, I'm not wanting to dig anyone out, but prior to Altrincham, for example, you had someone saying, no, I still back the manager, absolutely, blah, blah, blah. And then after the Altrincham match, no, that's it, he's got to go.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you can't just do it on the basis of one game. Now, I spoke to Terry Bullivant very, very briefly yesterday, and I said something, this is twice now I've said something to him, he's like, oh, I like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I sort of said, the problem with football, especially in the UK, is every team is going to get to a point on the ladder where they lose more games than they win, because that's the fact of relegation. You're going to always reach a point where you're not winning as many as you once were. Might be a few seasons after that you start losing those more games, or you sit in mid-table, but you've all got a natural level. So we're always going to be in a position where we're going to be up against it now for the next couple of years. I know even if we get promoted, I mean, I know I did mock them with Gary and Tim saying we hope to be in League One or the Championship in the next 10, 15, whatever number of years. It's like, okay, you can have your hope, but now you've written it down. That sounds like a manifesto promise. We're not going to be there because we haven't got the facilities, and it costs a lot of money. But I mean, I have noticed that after yesterday, some people have now started to switch onto the players, saying, "Well, hang on, what are they doing? Are they doing enough? Which I find it harsh because again, a lot of them are young and they read social media.
Of course, yeah.
But
Yeah.
in a word, how would you go into that changing room? You're not going to be allowed, but how would you go into that changing room and suddenly switch all the confidence around?
Believe. It's just one word. You've got to believe it. I said to AJ actually as he was walking out yesterday, I said to him that there are some talented players on there within the team, and they just have to believe in their abilities. You know, the managers picked them up and brought them into this division and this team for a reason. So they have to believe that, you know, you said earlier about the youth, they're fearless or whatever. There's that 16-year-old kid in the Liverpool side who scored the winner a couple of weeks ago. It's because he's fearless.
Yeah.
He's not scared of making a mistake. But the difference with that is he's got 10 other multimillionaire internationals behind him. We don't have that. So if one of them makes a mistake, it's going to jeopardise the other. But they've just got to believe that they can do it, believe they can sit the ball in the back of the net, believe they can clear a corner or a long throw-in or whatever. So if I could go in there tomorrow and speak to the group, it would just be believe. And I'm not saying that Steve's not doing that or Meany's not doing that or Kiri's not doing that, you know, but it's
hard because obviously you've got, as soon as a mistake happens, and I know because I've done it, so I'm not saying people shouldn't do it. As soon as a mistake happens, it's that collective around the ground, and that can't help. You're sitting there, and you know you've made a mistake. When I spoke to Easty on here before, I was like, "Oh, you know those things where you miss something, and everyone's like, oh, come on, chin up, Easty." He goes, "Oh God, yeah." It's so irritating because you know you've done it wrong. Because I get why people do it, but you know you've done something wrong, and there's no one who can tell me I've had a good game if I know I've had a bad one, and vice versa. But it's those little things of once you've done that, it's disappointing. We've got to do the next time. Come on, pick it up, keep going.
Oh, I bet you a bottom dollar that every single player today has not had a very good Sunday.
No.
So that, you know, people might turn on the players and say, "Oh, it's our club, and you know, it's just a job to you, etc." But they'll be feeling it today.
Yeah,
you know.
I have slightly, not hugely, but slightly different experience with some of the players because they've got to say hello and everything. But when I've ever chatted to them, they're all not. None of them have given me the impression that they're just here to be like, oh, go through the motions, which is slightly different to some of the players we had a couple of seasons ago, who wouldn't kind of engage at all. It's like wanting to talk, wanting to chat with people, and I mean, some of them are shyer than others, but yeah, they want to do well. You can just tell. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about. We'll do Brighton. So they are one of the best academies in the country. Great, marvelous. What's your thoughts? Never mind your thoughts on the National League Cup. Everyone's expressed their own opinion on that, but we are playing the game. So, what's your thoughts ahead of that game? How do you feel we should approach it? And I know you don't play the prediction league, but give us a score prediction.
Score prediction, jeez. Put it down on the evening, mate. Expectation of the game is probably just, it's going to be a tough one. You know, I think a lot of the academy teams play, you can tell they're Premier League teams because they play a certain way. Leeds United did it. They played pressing when they got the ball. They were comfortable on the ball. So, and I'm guessing Brighton are going to probably be the same. What am I expecting? If I'm honest with you, it's probably going to be another loss. But if I was to take any positives out of the game, it probably would to minimise that loss to maybe a goal or two. You know, not like the Fulham display. You know, but I would personally, if I was in Steve's position now, coaching wise, I would be setting up to allow them to have as much possession of the ball and then hit him.
Yeah,
hit him with a counter attack. Yeah, okay, they might be young, they might be pacey, they might, you know, but they're younger than us, so they're going to be inexperienced. They're going to have youth on their side, so hit him on the counter attack. Set up with the 5, go with the actual 5 at the back, and then let them play, and then hit him on a counter attack. That's probably what I would do. The score prediction, 2-1 to them.
2-1 to them. Okay.
2-1 to them.
Well, I'm hoping.
It's an unpopular choice, probably, but
No one really cares about this cup. But
look,
sorry.
to be fair, I wouldn't say I don't care about the cup. I think cups are there to help
Yeah.
with league momentum and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just felt that this game has come at the wrong time where we are in the league. So I think it would be good financially. It benefits the club like it did last year. But just this fixture alone has just come at the wrong time.
Yeah, as soon as I said that, I thought, right, I know right now that Meany is scathing, and if Steve listens, he's scathing because they do care about the cup.
Yeah.
But, lots of people don't care about the cup. Let me do that. I'm going to go for a bullying performance, because I'm thinking we're going to get back to a little bit like, right, you know what, this is an under-21 side. They're not used to playing men's football. Let's get in them. Like you said, let them have the ball a little bit, but as soon as they're getting into that danger zones, the bullying should start. And I'm going to go with a 3-1 win and Dylan to score first. So you probably do or don't know, but I've also put these things into a Gemini AI to see what it thinks.
Okay.
And amazingly, it's joint top of the prediction league. And I say amazingly because it went for a 1-0 win to us with Harry Buteman to score the first goal. Harry Buteman, who left us 2 years ago. So I'm like, how can this thing be top when it comes up with this kind of stuff?
There is no transfer window, so if Woking, I don't mind loaning him for a game or two.
I did go back and went, he left us in June 24 or whatever it was. And he went, oh, okay, then it changes to Nelson. And I'm like, I don't think he's even going to be playing, but okay, whatever, I'll put that down. But that's what it reckons. Looking further ahead to the early one next Saturday, I'm not going to know what to do with myself next week at all because it's on early, so I can watch it on telly properly. Everyone else in the house is going out, and they're out all day. So I'll be like, the football will finish, and I'll be like, what am I supposed to do now? I don't know how to.
Hopefully, you can party and celebrate 3 points.
I'll be like, woo! But what do you feel about the following week? I mean, obviously, it's a week away, and we don't have a lot of detail on them yet, and there's a lot that happened in that week. But longer term, how do you feel about the away game early next week?
More positive than the Tuesday game. I think again it's another chance to get back to winning ways. Brackley, I've not actually noticed many. I think the only result I really noticed recently is the 1-1 draw against Scunthorpe, where they scored a late equaliser, I believe. So they're probably down in the table. You're probably going to tell me where they are.
13th, so they're not down 13th. In the table at all,
okay.
Especially compared to us.
So again, it's an away trip, so maybe a different type of atmosphere for the boys to play in.
Definitely. I mean, again, I know everyone's trying their hardest at home, but it is very different away. I know I don't go away, but because all the away fans are kind of stuck together, whereas at Gander Green Lane we all tend to spread wherever we want. Some people can go to their favourite spots, some can't. Don't know if I've ever mentioned that before. But yeah, it will be a very different atmosphere to come out to.
So looking forward to. I personally won't be watching this one actually because I've got some game of my own to play on Saturday at 1:00. So, but I think what I've seen of them away, apart from the Forest Green game, they're holding their own against home opposition. So I think Brackley should be 3 points. I'll be a bit surprised if we don't, and that's not having an over-egged expectation on them to go and get 3 points. But I would say, looking at it, maybe clean sheet and a win.
Okay, cool. Right, we're going to wrap up the episode. Thank you very much, Carl, for going solo. We appreciate everyone's attention and feedback. Getting involved in Know Me, Know You segment. Who in your life has influenced your support for Sutton United? Follow, like, share this episode at Sutton Podcast on social medias. Subscribe while you're there. Give us a little report, a nice thumbs up on YouTube because we like it. I did the whole thumbs up thing for people not only listening. I actually did the thumbs up on the screen. And always thank you to Lucky Star Gin for being sponsors. Big thank you again, Carl, for flying solo. It's quite difficult. And thanks to everyone for listening. Hope you've enjoyed this episode of Sutton Podcast. Take care and we'll catch up soon. Bye-bye. United!
United! United! United!